Hey, what's good, people? This your boy Cincy, aka Mr. Good Vibes, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, if you think this is the best channel or the best Forex channel on YouTube, please do like, share, and subscribe. Listen, today, man, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. The first thing is going to be a quick market update on what I think the direction of the market is still saying. The second thing is going to be crypto. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin and also what I think about Bitcoin and where I think Bitcoin might be headed. And the last thing is going to be some of the major Forex pairs that I'm currently looking at, which I currently like. Like I said, I have an account challenge, which I'm going to be starting pretty soon, sometime next week. I'm not yet sure, but I'm trying to decide between a $500 account challenge or a $1,000 account challenge, where I will deposit this money into a new account and I will provide daily updates on how the account is performing and what I'm buying. So today I'm also going to be showing you some of the type of pairs that I'm currently looking at, which I think are going to be good for you, because these are going to be real money making strategy, which can take you all the way from you making 40 pips to 600 or more pips in a trade. Now today, like I said, let's quickly go to the chart before I start blabbing too much. So we're going to be taking a quick look at my chart. So the first thing I'm looking at here is the SPX 500. And again, I always like to look at three major indices, which is the SPX 500, the Nasdaq 100, and the US 30. So those are the three major indices which I'm going to be looking at. So the first one is the SPX 500, and you can see it's actually green today, 0.1%. The Nasdaq 100 is actually 0.49%, and the US 30 is actually down 0.1%. So you can see the first thing I always look at when I'm looking at my chart is my primary indicators. Again, for me, I am a technical indicator trader, and I do this because it's one of the easiest way to trade the market, because what it does is it helps you to remove emotions. You trying to decide what direction is the market going. You can definitely use some technical indicators out there that can actually guide you swiftly without having too much doubt, because trust me, if you emotionally trade in this market, you would most likely run into a lot of trouble. So I use some indicators, and a few people have been asking me about the names of these indicators, but don't worry, I plan to drop some of the names of these indicators in future videos. But for the purpose of the video for today, let's quickly take a look at some of the ones I look at. So like I said, I look at some chart indicators, and you can see on the S&P, the current indicators is telling me a B sign and a green arrow. Again, the B actually stands for buy, and the green arrow to the upside means that the market is still supposed to be going to the upside, because this is the most current signal. Now, in a situation where I get an S sign or a red arrow, then that is going to mean that the market is supposed to be coming down, which means you have to sell or close out your positions. Now, another thing I also would like to see on my chart is the baseline. It's this green and red line. So if it's a buy, the line would be a buy, or sorry, it would be a green line. And if it's a sell, it would be a red line. So you can see the current color is actually a green line because of the buy signal. And we also use this baseline as a point of reference. We want to make sure that the price, which is this candlestick, is always trading above the baseline if it's a buy, right? But in a situation where we get a sell, then we are okay if the price starts to trade below that baseline. So it's a very, very simple phenomenon. So you can see at times when the market has been running since October of last year, you can see that the price has always stayed above that baseline. In a situation where we start to see the price close below that baseline, then that's where we want to start getting out of our trade. So you can see example, just looking at this particular trend, you can see at this point we crossed the baseline at this point, and you can see you could have easily just ride this trade all the way to the point where you start to see it close below the baseline. So you can see the current status of the market is the price is below the baseline, and we also have a buy signal in the green arrow. So now that I've looked at the indicators on my chart, I also want to go below the chart and see the charts. Also, I see the indicators below, because I just don't want to create a bias. I want a mixture of suggestions or reference points that I can use to kind of like give me a much stronger confidence that this is actually still a bullish play in this current market. So these are my secondary indicators below the chart. So if I was to focus more on them and take away the chart, and you can see the first one I want you guys to pay attention to here is this one. So you can see the green line is a signal line, and the white line is what I call zero line. This is actually what I call a one line cross indicator or a zero line cross indicator because of the zero line. So whenever the signal line is above the zero line, then that is going to be a buy signal. But if you see the signal line below the zero line, then that is going to be more of a sell signal. So you can see the current status of this signal line is actually above the zero line. As a matter of fact, it's a positive number. So if it's a negative number, then that's going to be more of a sell. So this is telling me that this is actually still a buy signal in this market, that this market is still bullish. So we've confirmed one indicator. We also want to confirm multiple, not just one. We have a couple of indicators, and this one is actually a two-line cross. Why? Because I'm looking at two different lines, a green line and a red line. The green line represents a fast line and the red line represents a slow line. Now, the way this works is very, very simple. All you need to know is that whenever the green line is greater than the red line, then that is more of a buy signal. But whenever your red line is greater than your green line, then that is more of a sell signal. So you can see the current signal is we have a green line above the red line. That is telling me that the current market is still in that buy signal, which is still telling me that this is a bullish market. So I've confirmed my second indicator along with the primary indicators that I'm seeing on the chart. So you can see that this conviction is getting stronger. I want to take a look at another one. This one is very, very simple, and it's just a color change. You see we have a red arrow, which represents a buy, but then again, we can start with a red bar and start switching into a green bar. Whenever we go from red, which is going to be more of a sell, and whenever you start to see it go to green, that's more of a buy. So you can see the current bar is actually green, and that is telling me that this is also a bullish signal for the current XPX 500 index. Now, another one I also like is this one. It's a zero line cross. You can see the white line is still a zero line, but I have an upper, middle, and lower line. So if the signal line is between the upper line, and the middle line, then that is a buy signal. But if you get it between the middle and the lower, then that's more of a sell signal. You can see that the current signal is actually between the upper line and the middle line. So the market is still very bullish. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing that we've gotten one confirmation, 2, 3, 4 different confirmations from 4 different indicators along with the chart indicators. And let's take a look at one more. The last one is this one. Is also a two-line cross, but you can see it's a little bit different from the last one I showed you. And how does this one work? It's the same philosophy. If it's a green line and a red line, a fast and a slow line. See, if the red line is above the green line, then that is a sell signal. But if the green line or the fast line is greater than the red line, then that is going to be more of a buy signal. So you can see the current status is that the green is still above the red. So we are still in a bullish market, and this is still a buy signal. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different indicators telling me that the market is still very strong, and this also tallies with what I'm seeing on the chart. So for those of you, or those of us who are currently panicking on what they think the market or what they think the direction of the market is, we still think the market is bullish. We are not worried. The only time we start to get worried is when the market starts to close below this baseline. As a matter of fact, we saw the candle drop close to this baseline. And again, I'm looking at weekly charts. Again, I'm looking at the weekly charts because the weekly chart tends to be a little bit cleaner than daily charts. We actually bought more. I bought more calls at this level, and I also bought more indices at this level because I believe that this market is still going to bounce. A lot of analysts are still predicting that we are going to hit that 6,000 mark this year for the S&P, and we are currently at 5,819. So we still got 200 and something points to go before I even start to panic. Again, if you look at the last couple weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, we've had 7 straight green weeks in a row, and this week we are currently having our first red week. You know what that means? That is telling me that this could be an opportunity for you to get into the market and pick up some of those your favorite names that you love. Again, make sure that you're buying when people are fearful and you're selling when people are greedy. But the problem is a lot of us tend to do it the other way around. But if you have a technical indicator on your hand that can actually guide you, then this can be a way for you to actually overcome some of these issues. Now, let's move on to Bitcoin. I told you guys I love Bitcoin. Bitcoin is good. We are actually up 1.94% today, 1,296 points. And you can see Bitcoin. What do we see on Bitcoin? Bitcoin is looking nice and sweet, like we say where I come from. I'm going to delete all these lines so I don't create some confusion because I typically use those lines as a point of reference for me to know my entry dates and things like that. So apologies for that. Now let's bounce into this. So you can see Bitcoin, my current signal is actually B and a green arrow to the upside. And guess what? The baseline is actually a green color that is telling me that's also a buy. And the current price of Bitcoin is also trading above these baselines. So now, for those of us who are trying to buy Bitcoin, I was actually a good buyer of Bitcoin when Bitcoin traded a little bit close to this baseline at this point at 65,000 when we had that drop, I think yesterday. So I picked up some Bitcoin at this level as I believe that this would be a continuation to the upside. And let me see, before I start to sell, we do have a resistance here for Bitcoin at what, 73,966. But let us take a look at the secondary indicators below and see what those are actually doing and how they match with the primary indicators. So if I zoom out, I don't know what's going on, my computer is not trying to zoom out, so now I'm zooming out, and I'm actually going to minimize the chart so you guys can see what's below, so you can see how my indicators are faring up. You can see my zero line cross, the signal is actually above the white line, so that is a buy signal for Bitcoin. And you can see my two line cross, the green is above the red, that is also a buy signal for Bitcoin. This is why I like Bitcoin to the upside. You can see I'm actually getting a green color, that is a buy signal. You can also see that the signal line is between the upper and the middle, that is a buy signal. And what else? You can see, look at this one, two line cross, the green is actually above the red, that is also a buy signal. So this is exactly why I currently like Bitcoin and why I bought more Bitcoin. And I'm going to be looking at this until we get to this 73,000 level, resistance level. And trust me, if we break this level, there's a chance that the Bitcoin might continue to go to the upside. As a matter of fact, I'm listening to a lot of YouTubers saying that next year is going to be a bullish year for Bitcoin. So for those of you who love these crypto plays, this is definitely your time to actually jump on this before we actually run. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is some major Forex pairs. Yes, I know this is a Forex channel and I love to trade Forex because, as a matter of fact, a lot of my algorithms that I developed were actually from Forex, but I realized that I can also transfer that same knowledge to trading options, to trading stocks, to trading oil, to trading crypto, to trading, you name it, indices. And that is why I love my algorithm. I don't leave it. It's the same thing. It's the same process that I transfer from one instrument to the other. Now, what am I talking about? Let's take a look at some of the major indices, also major Forex instruments that I'm currently looking at. So yesterday I talked about the CHF JPY. You can see today we are actually seeing a decent pullback in this instrument. But let's take a look at another one that I actually like, that I think might actually be a good one, is the CAP JPY. The CAP JPY again is actually showing a buy signal and a green arrow telling me that this is going to the upside, or this is going to be more of a buy signal. And you can see, if I was to take a look at my secondary indicators below, what am I seeing? I am seeing my one line cross indicator. My one line cross indicator, sorry about that, is actually it's actually above the white line, so this is a buy. You can see that my two line cross, the green is above the red, that is a buy. And you can see that for this one, the color is green, that is a buy. And what else? You can see that the signal line is actually above the upper level and the middle level, that is a buy. And you can see now the two line cross is not yet done. You know, the red is still above the green, but guess what? You can see that they're almost kind of like kissing or making out, and there's a chance that there's going to be a crossover, kind of like what you see here, which is probably going to happen in the next couple days or so. So this is actually why I like CADJPY. If, as a matter of fact, any currency against the yen, I think is actually currently going to be a good bullish play for those of us who love to trade Forex. Again, this is the weekly chart, and I'm looking at CAPJPY. If everything goes according to the way I think it should, I don't know why my computer is freezing up right now. I hope it's not virus, or I hope I'm not getting hacked. But if I was to put my resistance down here, this is where I'm thinking it might most likely go. And if I was to pull my ruler and I was to measure from this point all the way down to this, you can see I'm looking at 860 more pips that could actually be collected from this pair. So I like this pair, and this is a pair that I'm going to be holding for a long time and going to be seeing if this actually plays out. But you can see I actually got into the pair when I saw that retraction close to the baseline, because again, I like to buy as close as possible to the baseline, because I feel like that is where I get the most discount provided all the indicators on the primary side matches what's actually below the chart. Again, I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I hope you guys are trading safe. I hope everything is going good for you with your trading. I pray God will continue to protect you. Hey, remember to pray, because it's definitely necessary to pray in this market. This market is crazy. The election is coming up. Hey, listen, man, it's going to be crazy, man. The election is pretty close. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So even as we continue to trade this market and continue to look at our trends, but just remember that this election is going to create a lot of volatility if there's a lot of uncertainty on the polls. Again, as the Dow continues to go up, the Dow names will continue to favor Mr. Trump. But as the tech stocks continue to go up, then trust me, that would tend to mean that Mrs. Kamala Harris is most likely going to be the president of the United States. Again, this is your boy Cincy, aka Mr. Good Vibes. Make sure you're trading safe, and let's make some small money together, even if it's just a little. Thank you.